And the New York Times, on top of this, by the way, they're whining. People like Maggie Haberman, famed for her anonymous source stories, which we now see are all coming from the FBI, and they're all coming from these intelligence sources who are now just Democrat shills. They're all complaining, we were lied to, we were lied to. Let me tell you, let me show you why these guys can be lied to. Let us take a trip to the New York Times op-ed page, or as we like to call it, Knucklehead Road.
Oh, hey, hey, oh, hey, oh, let's go waltzing down to Knucklehead Road.
So there's what everybody loves in the press is these big fights between, Senator Jeff Flake and, Bob Corker, and they're yelling at Trump, and basically Trump, they're having to retire. They're having to leave the Senate because they cannot get support, because people are basically the Republican Party is turning into a more Trumpian party. And so as they leave, they're throwing these dirt bombs. And what I love is after Flake made that speech in the Senate, he made the rounds of all the news agencies, and they all asked him the exact same question. We have a montage. This is cut number 15. This is Flake going on all the news agencies. They just want to know one thing.
You write, it is time to take a stand against Trump. If he is dangerous to democracy, as you say, should he be removed from office?
I don't think any of those remedies are justified. I really don't.
We ought to actually lead.
Well, there is a way that Congress can change this. Do you think Congress should be pursuing every avenue to get President Trump out of office?
No, I don't want to go down that road. I think that we ought to simply require more of our commander-in-chief and our leader.
They're saying actions speak louder than words. What do you do now to actually make a change in the leadership? What do you do behind the scenes in the Senate? What can you do in politics going forward?
And so it's up to us to stand up and say this is not acceptable.
Are words enough, though, Senator? What should you and your colleagues be doing? It seems like, as you say, a lot of your colleagues may agree with you privately. Some are speaking out as well. But there also seems to be a pretty prevalent view that the party just has to stick together to get tax cuts. And I guess my question is that prize worth the price?
That's George Stephanopoulos, the guy who said to Hillary Clinton, I love you, Hillary. It's in his memoir, I love you, Hillary. And now he's a newsman. I mean, that's the face of corruption. Right there, that very fact is a face of corruption. But please, it's like, please, won't you impeach this president? So the point is, these guys got lied to, and they got taken to the cleaners by Hillary Clinton, one of the biggest liars in town. As somebody who, how do you know Hillary's lying? Her mouth is moving, right? So these guys got sucked in by these people. They didn't report this story. The Washington Post finally reported it, but the Times said they had the story, but the Clintons denied it. So the Clinton people denied it, so why wouldn't they believe it? The reason is because you guys are children. You have been reduced to the level of children by your gullible left-wingery. And here is an example from Knucklehead Row at the New York Times. The editorial board writes, the real reason for Republican silence on Donald Trump. Here's the real reason for, and just listen to the logic of this, okay? It's less striking that a few Republican congressmen have publicly denounced President Trump's conduct than that most of their colleagues have not. Their fellow legislators have silently accepted his outrages. Why? In exchange for policies they've always wanted. So they've accepted the fact that Trump is rude, and he is, and I've talked about this, and I don't like the fact that he's rude and a bully. They've accepted that to get policies for the American people, to do their job, to get the things that he was elected to get and that they were elected to get. So they go on. On Tuesday night, the Senate, with a tie-breaking vote from Mike Pence, followed the House in voting to overturn a rule that would have allowed consumers to file class action lawsuits against banks and other financial institutions rather than be forced to take their disputes to arbitration. This is a Obama thing that was forced down people's throats. This is, part of the big constituency of the Democrats are trial lawyers. This was a trial lawyer gift. About half of financial arrangements have this arbitration, that you can take the deal to arbitration. That saves tremendous amounts of money. And it means that that money you pay for, that money goes into interest rates, hikes at credit cards and all these things. And who does that hurt? It doesn't hurt me. I pay off my credit card debt every day. But if you can't pay off your credit card every month, you're the guy who gets nailed by it. But it helps those. It's basically a transfer of wealth from business to trial lawyers. That's what it is. All right, so here is the agenda in New York Times speak. Here is the agenda that Republicans want, okay? Healthcare sabotage. I'm reading this off the page. This is what Republicans wake up. I think I want to sabotage Americans' healthcare. That's what I want. Healthcare sabotage, environmental harm. That's the other thing, Mitch McConnell, that's what he wakes up. He lies awake at night going, like, how can I harm the environment? They want to hurt workers. It's like elementary school. It really is. It's like elementary school. This is the agenda that Republicans are supporting Trump for. They want to hurt workers. They want to destroy the environment. They want to make housing less affordable. That's Paul Ryan's special thing. You know what? I want fewer people to be able to afford a house. I mean, think about, well, let's go, and helping big corporations and putting lives at risk. This is very important this is on the platform. I think this was on the Republican platform. How can we put lives at risk? I mean, if you think of any one of these, making housing less affordable, these are the clowns, these Democrats are the clowns who loaned money to people who couldn't pay it back. That money was then rolled out, snowballed through these Wall Street, devices that they used to get people to pay for this until the economy crashed. Could it possibly be that there's a reason they want to make it a little harder to get a loan for a house? Could that possibly be environmental harm? I mean, this is the thing. These guys are like children. They are like children talking about this.